Good afternoon to all those who are watching this debate live on the social platforms of Università Cattolica del Sacro Cuore. My name is Giulia De Feudis, and today I'm the facilitator for the second day of challenges between the teams formed by the students of our university. I would like to thank the three members of the jury who are here with us to judge the following debates. It's a pleasure to introduce to the teams and to the audience Professor Edoardo Puglisi from the Faculty of Agriculture, Food and Environmental Sciences. Professor Puglisi is here as the representative also of the other two members of the jury who are following the debate in the backstage. Professor Claudia Rotondi from the Faculty of Political and Social Sciences, and Professor Raul Caruso from the Faculty of Linguistic Sciences and Foreign Literatures. So, today and tomorrow, the four teams that reach the second stage of the tournament will compete in a series of debates. Only two teams that will win the greatest number of debates between today and tomorrow will pass to the final challenge. Today, at the end of each debate, we will know the winner of each challenge. The names of the two finalist teams will be officially announced on Monday morning. I'm going to briefly sum up the schedule of the second stage of the tournament, and then we'll start with the first debate. Today, we have three debates. The first debate will see the Exponiamo debating against the As We Speak. Then the As We Speak will compete against the Naturalmente. In the third debate, the Naturalmente and the Exponiamo will challenge each other. So let's start with the first debate. Here is the topic of the challenge: extensive agriculture and intensive agriculture. I welcome the pro team, the Exponiamo, and on the other side, the con team, the As We Speak. The captains will open the debate, starting with the pro team. Then the first and the second speakers will take part in the discussion. Teams, you know the rules. Good luck to all, and may the best team win. I just remind you the topic of this first debate: extensive agriculture and intensive agriculture. Let's start. Captain of the pro team, you have 3 minutes. The floor is yours.
Thank you. I want to start this debate with some sort of consideration that are objective. So the world's population is predicting to increase by 35% by 2050. And at the same time, per capita food demand is rising. Population growth and increased consumption mean that globally demand for food will increase at a higher rate than population growth. So in order to satisfy this requirement, agriculture plays a central role. Tomorrow, this business will not be able to face this problem unless we promote intensive agriculture. Intensive agriculture allows to produce a significant amount of product from limited plots of land with the use of technological innovations, saving arable land at this time when more and more demand is required. On the contrary, extensive agriculture means using a large amount of arable land to cultivate in order to produce the same amount of product that intensive agriculture is smaller plots of land. So, as a consequence, extensive agriculture is not suitable for the needs of a growing population in this moment. We stand for intensive agriculture because of other two main themes. For first, environment, and secondly, but not secondly, food price. Extensive agriculture needs a larger amount of land to be as productively as intensive one. This means subtracting land that are necessary in order to salvaguard biodiversity, protect natural habitats, forests, and promote tourism. Moreover, the land characterized by the high fertility are already used. So the remaining lands are not really efficient. Another issue related to environment is the waste of water by extensive agriculture. So this kind of agriculture is responsible for the 17% of use of water all around the world. We promote a specific type of intensive agriculture called vertical farm. So these vertical farms are made with a high-tech indoor hydroponic cultivation system that allows to significantly increase production and reduce the consumption of natural resources, eliminating the use of pesticides and reduce the distances between producer and customers. As we just said, vertical agriculture also solves the issue related to food prices, because transport, they provoke not just environmental, but also economical issues related to food price. And for sure, our priority is to feed everybody. In a conclusion, we support this type of intensive agriculture because it's a great response to the consumption growth related to this demographic growing. It is an efficient way, it is an efficient solution to feed everybody in an economical and sustainable way through technology and innovation. Thank you.
Thank you, Exponiamo. As we speak, Captain, you have 3 minutes. You have the floor.
So let's start with some definitions. Intensive farming is a method that uses inputs and advanced techniques to increase the overall yield. The essence of intensive farming is that it depends on the chemicals to accelerate the growth without respecting the natural processes of it. Extensive farming, on the other hand, is a system of cultivation which uses limited inputs. In this case, traditional methods of farming are given preference. But let's talk about the productivity. We can start a race about who produces more. We can do that. What we cannot do is to consider productivity just in terms of quantity created. We waste tons of production every day. The BCG group told us something about it in 2018. Fruit and vegetables, 46% is wasted. Cereals, 29% is wasted. Is overproduction something that you would relate to efficiency? Not really. It's actually quite the opposite. It means that something is not working well. One of the most troubling environmental disadvantages to industrial agriculture is in fact its contribution to climate change. Globally, agriculture is one of the largest drivers of climate change, accounting for around 12% of total emission and nearly a quarter of greenhouse gas emissions. Our planet is not something we can squeeze until everything comes out as fast as possible, and it's naive to expect to be able to do it forever. This represents a huge damage for the ecosystem, and everything is an ecosystem. We are the ecosystem. For a matter of logic, you will agree with me that a damage to the planet is itself a damage to the people. It is fundamental to reduce as much as possible and as soon as possible gas emissions in order to keep the global temperature rise under 1.5 degrees Celsius. This kind of agriculture represents the same logic we used in the last 2 centuries. It's pointless and it's dangerous to focus only on the current benefits that we can enjoy right now. We cannot sacrifice our future in exchange for a brief and illusionary present. According to the OECD, agriculture was pointed as a significant share of the GHG that causes climate change, 17% to be precise, directly through agricultural activities, and an additional 7 to 14% through land use changes. This is happening, folks. It is happening right now. Just a couple of days ago, Sardinia was drowning, literally. Fires and floods in the US are happening more and more frequently. Intensive agriculture has concrete consequences that people are already experiencing on their own skin. And if someone still believes that this is abstract and a problem just in the long term, Margherita, our first speaker, will, in her speech, get into this in detail. Thank you. I'll leave the floor.
Thank you, captains. Exponiamo, first speaker, 3 minutes for you. You have the floor.
can you hear me? We are not promoting intensive agriculture in general. We promote vertical farming, a specific type of intensive agriculture that does not use pesticide, land, and saves a lot of water through a type of a different type of irrigation called waterfall irrigation. So we do not have type of using the land that you have, because we don't need so many extensions of land. We need a little amount of land, and we use it vertically. So we can use less and less land than you. Secondly, extensive agriculture is practiced far from the distribution products location. So this is because it needs an enormous extension of land, as I just said. As a consequence, transports are required, and it also means that more pollution is caused and higher costs is caused. Here we have two negative implication in economy and environment. In economical terms, transport means that the cost of primary goods is rising. So if it happens, less and less people are going to be able to afford those primary goods. In 2002, because of food transplantation, 90 million tons of CO2 were emitted. And just in the UK, food transport costs £9 billion. That is more than their GDP. Also, food transportation rose up of almost 10% in the last decades. And more than 25% of all heavy vehicles are employed in food transportation. In environmental terms, not only transport are polluting, but also extensive agriculture damages seriously our environment, stealing lands from forests, natural reserves, habitats, and biodiversity. Extensive agriculture is negative in both economical and environmental ways. On the other hand, the kind of agriculture that we support and we promote is vertical farming. That is a specific type of intensive agriculture, which solves both the issues in terms of environment and economics. Thank you.
Hi, so the captain of the other team explained to us how their system of agriculture is considered to be more environmentally friendly, but actually that's impossible. As my captain already pointed out, your system is responsible for 17% of GHG emissions. And I don't see how your system can actually be environmentally friendly. But let's move on to something else. You talked about agrochemicals, and that's what they use, intensive agriculture use to make their soils so productive. Agrochemicals are products that are used by intensive agriculture to help improving the production of the crop. But each of these products has deleterious effects on the earth ecological system, and it affects humans, animals, and nature in the whole. Many countries have reported alarming residues of agricultural chemicals in soil, water, air, agricultural products, and even in the human body. In the USA, according to a survey made by the US Geological Survey, pesticides were detected 97% of the time in samples from stream water in agricultural areas. Let's analyze two of the main agrochemicals and how they concretely affect our environment: nitrogen and pesticides. Nitrogen is applied as a fertilizer to crops in order to compensate for depleted soils caused by intensive agriculture in the first place. This vicious cycle causes large amounts of nitrogen to seep into groundwater and surface water, which can cause deadly disease not only to humans, but also to the marine ecosystem. Regarding pesticides, they are used in agriculture to reduce the level of damage made by pests, which is economically determined. Unfortunately, the use of pesticide is not controlled whatsoever. This is especially true when entire fields are sprayed. During this application, many non-target organisms are exposed to the pesticide, and this causes many unnecessary poisoning and death of organisms that are not agricultural pests. In North America, for example, millions of wild birds have been killed each year as a non-target effect of the routine use of agricultural insecticides. But we should focus on the risky effect pesticides have on humans. About 1 million pesticide poisonings occur globally every year, resulting in 20,000 fatalities. Let's take an example of pesticide causing extensive toxicity to humans. In India, in 1984, there was an accidental release of a deadly vapor to the atmosphere. This agrochemical-related emission caused the death of about 3,000 people and more than 20,000 were injured. All this said, we shall now remember that between 1990 and 2015, pesticide use worldwide has increased by 73%. We have to stop harming our planet and first ourselves, and we cannot wait any longer to do so. Thank you.
So thank you to all our speakers. Now we give a little break to the teams. So participants, you can coordinate with your team and reconsider your strategy if you need it. So starting from now, 2 minutes of break. In this first debate, the Exponiamo and the As We Speak are challenging each other, debating about extensive agriculture and intensive agriculture. This is Exponi, the debate contest about climate change and environmental protection promoted by WeWorld Onlus with the support of the European Union within the project End Climate Change, Start Climate of Change. This project, which involves 16 European organizations, belongs to a program called DEAR, Development, Education and Awareness Raising, and it aims to encourage young Europeans to investigate the complex relationship existing between climate change and migratory phenomena, with the purpose of creating a movement of well-informed people ready to change their lifestyle and to ask for new development policies. For this reason, the participants are called to debate about global issues of great relevance, such as human rights, inclusion, participation, environmental protection, non-discrimination, migration, development, and youth policies. So in a few minutes, we will be back with the debate.
Sa che dobbiamo andare.
So, Exponiamo, as we speak, welcome back to the debate. Second speaker of the pro team, you have 3 minutes. The floor is yours.
Ele, non ti sentiamo.
I want to
We
clarify.
can't see you. We can't hear you. Sorry.
Now
Okay.
I will start from the beginning.
Yes.
Okay. First of all, I want to clarify that we are promoting a particular type of intensive agriculture that represents our solution. This type of intensive agriculture, again, because we need to clarify again this, it's called vertical farming. This vertical farming is really eco-friendly, and now I have some data in order to prove this. First of all, vertical farms save more than the 90% of water than extensive agriculture. Moreover, they are more productive of the 20% than extensive agriculture. Just think in Japan that thanks to Nubeige, we have 57,000 square meters of vertical farms, and in Netherlands, thanks to Plant Lab, we have a 3-floor structure suitable for the vertical farm. So this solution is really eco-friendly. Intensive agriculture is in progress as everything in our world. So we are promoting the progress that intensive agriculture shows us, and this progress is vertical farms. Moreover, the other team didn't answer at our question. So how they want to deal with the fact that extensive agriculture needs more and more lands in order to product, in order to feed everybody on this world because of the population is growing. In which way extensive agriculture want to cultivate these lands? With deforestation, with destruction of biodiversity, or with destruction of the habitats? Because if they need more lands, they need to bring this land somewhere. So where? Now, this is one of our most important points, and the other team did not rebuttal to this. Another important thing is about pesticide. The first speaker of the other team talked all time about pesticide, but our type of intensive agriculture is not using this pesticide because of technological innovation and progress that create these buildings, and in these buildings there are a lot of flats, and in this flat there are created technologically the ambiental condition, and this ambiental condition plants doesn't need pesticide. So our solution, as we have just said, is efficient and is yet in act. And most of all, it is real, and it represents a great solution, a solution that progress gave us. Thank you.
So thank you, Exponiamo. Second speaker of the CON team, 3 minutes for you. You have the floor. So if you're ready, you can start.
Yeah, all right. Listen, it's pretty clear the game that proposition team played today. They did their research, they found out that intensive agriculture isn't a solution, and they proposed to us a certain specific type of intensive agriculture that in their idea has some benefits. But this is not what we are talking about. We are talking about intensive agriculture in general, and that's what the topic says. You cannot focus the entire debate on a certain specific little type of agriculture. And they did this because they just find out that all the things that we said in our speeches is simply true, and they couldn't defend their position in any other way. But let's start with the points that they have dealt with us today. So first, the demand point. Okay, the population is rising, we have those type of problems, and it is clear that we have those problems. But the point is, we have the 17% of gas emissions that is created by intensive agriculture. So if we do not deal with this problem, there will be no future with more population. The problem is present. And as we said, they're sacrificing their future to have a benefit in the present, even if they say that this is not the case. When it comes to the land, we already explained that the intensive agriculture not only creates problems, not in the land that it is made, but also in the land around these areas. And the first speaker of our team explained it very well. And they keep saying that, because this was their only point, that we are not promoting intensive agriculture. All right, so then you're saying that this type of agriculture isn't true. You cannot say that this is true, this is not good in general, but this specific type is really good, and then focus on that thing. And then when it comes again to the waste of water that they proposed, okay, all right, but yeah, it's your point too, it's your point, a waste of water, but then again, we have some benefits that already have been explained on our side. And one of our benefits, for example, is reducing, and again, as I said before, the GHG emissions. And we are ready to sacrifice that 17% of wastewater by reducing the 17% of all the GHG gas emissions. And this is a sacrifice that we are ready to do. And then we had a point about transportation, right? So how this transportation will raise the price of the product, and how the pollution will increase with transportation. So number one, if you know the basis of logistics, you know that you cannot, like the price of the transportation and really amortized in all the products that you are transporting. And if we're talking about 1 million units, the cost of transportation will be nearly zero with a single product. So then again, it's like not a true point. Plus, the pollution created by transportation will still remain. I mean, the transportation is not done only with agriculture. There are like a lot of other things that, of course, need to be transported. So then again, it's not like a real link with the topic, as, of course, all the arguments that they did. So for all these reasons, we think that our points stand and theirs do not stand still. Thank you very much.
So thank you as we speak. Now we give another little break to the teams so that the participant can coordinate with their team and reconsider the strategy if this is the case. So starting from now, you have 2 minutes of break. And in the meanwhile, let's keep discovering about Exponi.
Cioè, ma l'avete sentito questo? Ma è pazzo!
Pazzo mi sembrano parole forti. Mi ritengo abbastanza...
Okay. In the meanwhile, let's keep discovering about Exponi. Exponi is not just a competition among teams from various Italian universities, but it's a European one. Indeed, the contest is organized in 13 European nations. The Italian team, winner of the university tournament, will have the opportunity to participate in the Pan-European final that will take place in November 2021 in Brussels, and to challenge students from different European universities. In Brussels, the national teams will be divided, and 26 new European teams formed by students, formed by young people of different nationalities will be created. The members of the team that will win the European final will have the opportunity to visit 4 countries involved in the project and climate change, start climate of change, to become young ambassadors and supporters of the climate of change. In the following minutes, the speakers will take part in a free debate, and we will listen to the reasonings they will. So the break is over. Now, if the teams are ready, we can start with the free debate. I just remember you guys to specify your role and the team you belong to before talking during the free debate. So thank you. Teams, if you are ready, the floor is yours.
I'm the second speaker of the pro team, and I want to ask once more, in which way the other teams want to feed all the population on this world with extensive agriculture, because we know that is not a really high productivity and needs a lot of land. So how and where they want to take these lands?
Yes, I'll get this one if you don't mind. So firstly, when you say productivity, you mean, I think, in terms of volume produced. As the first speaker, which is our captain, explained already, we do not intend productivity only based on volume produced. We only intend it in terms of efficiency, and the intensive agriculture is not efficient. We have demonstrated it by saying that there's a lot of waste, and this is not an indicator of efficiency. Secondly, there is a lot of GHG gas emissions, right? So it is not a sustainable method of creating agricultural units, right? Agricultural foods. So then again, this is the point of response in the first half of your question. When it comes to the second half of your questions, you already said in the first speech of your captain that the only thing that we need to come as productive as you in terms of volume is a larger amount of land. But do you know how much or how not much there's land, disposable land in the world right now? So there are a lot of possibilities. And plus, there's a new thing that you can target, and I want to address this thing. Having more land to use will also create more jobs to use, right? So the people that have no jobs in rural areas might have new possibility of working. And I know this might sound like a crazy point of view, right? As you first defined me, but this is the real point of view, and this is the real way that things work and are sustainable. And you didn't address an advantage of intensive agriculture. What you did, and I'd like to hear a response on this, is is wanting a precise little way of intensive agriculture, because you know deep inside you that intensive agriculture is not a working method and is not sustainable. So that's why you had the choice.
Okay.
Non ti sentiamo.
I'm sorry, I'm the captain of the Exponi. I want to say what you're saying is not true, because you spent a lot of time saying that we're just focusing on a little part of intensive agriculture, but simply this kind of intensive agriculture is just one of the solution proposed by innovation, and innovation means intensive agriculture, because innovation means take someone, make this more productively and less wasting. So what we said, as you heard, is also about transportation. We said that transportation puts 19 million tons of CO2 in the air, that transportation just in the UK represents 9 billion just transportation of food. That is more than the PIL of the country. We said that transportation is an issue. We said that not all the countries could afford extensive agriculture, as we said. Let's take a country like Japan, as we said, they couldn't afford extensive agriculture. They couldn't feed everybody in a sustainable way.
I'm again the speaker of the protein, and I want the other to notice that we proposed a solution, and they didn't engage our main argument, so I want to ask them, which is their solution to feed everybody? They didn't explain it, which is their solution in order to feed the population that is growing.
So I'm the captain of As We Speak, and yes, I'm pleased to answer to your question. So as you may know, the FAO has already said that also 90% of the lands that we are now cultivating are owned by families. So families run them, and I'm pretty sure they don't have the capital to do an industrial type of agriculture. So that's the main point. And they produce like 80% of the world's food, and the FAO has already declared that's the solution. That's the direction that they're going to. That's I think that's the answer to your question. And then I would like to underline again that the topic here is not finding a solution that fits you best, because in general, like your topic, intensive agriculture is bad, and you know it is bad for the environment, and it has been bad for years, and we have consequences that we're gonna face and we're facing right now. So the point is not really how you can make it better, it's just that right now you're really bad. Like your kind of agriculture is unsustainable, and it is like it's objectively like this, and then we can evolve, yeah, we can talk about it, but that's not the topic of today. So I would like to bring your attention to other points, please.
Yeah, I'll add, if I may, to this question to answer the point of the second speaker of the proposition team, who said that we did not propose a solution. And I'll add on this: we didn't have to propose a solution because the solution that we have to bring is in the topic. We are for extensive agriculture. What they did by adding a solution was briefly taking a little part, as I already said before, which is maybe the only part of intensive agriculture that does not have the ecological impact, but this is always to demonstrate, and bring it as the solution for all. But we know that this is not the truth. We know that when we say intensive agriculture, we are not meaning vertical agriculture. We are meaning the general intensive agriculture. So they cannot just close the debate on one single term and pretend to have like the solution and pretend to have the good ideas, because if this was the solution, it will already be the standard, which is not.
Again, me, the second speaker, and I want to say that this solution is yet in act, as our example demonstrate, and also we want to tell the captain of the other team that, yeah, now the percentage of production by this family, yeah, it's really high, but in the future, this percentage and this products, this amount of products won't be enough, because the population is gonna grow and grow and grow. So facing this problem during a debate, I think we have to find a solution, because in this world there are problems. And in my opinion, the aim of debate is to find a solution, not the contrary.
Hi, I'm the first speaker of the CON team. And I just want to say that if we don't stop using intensive agriculture right now, there won't be a future and people to feed. Like, there's not even going to be a problem if we don't solve this right now. If we don't stop the GHG emission right now, there won't even be the problem of how many people we feed.
This is not true, because as we said before, our kind of intensive agriculture is just one of the sons of technology and progress. This is one just of the sons of technology and progress. And technology and progress, as they saved us in the past, will save us in the future, because as we said before, we are facing a food crisis. So why don't you find a solution?
Listen,
Also,
speaker.
I would like to add, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm sorry, I would like to add something. I'm the first speaker of the pro side. So I would like to add that we do not support the classic type, as you say, everything else that's in the world of intensive agriculture. We support a specific type of intensive agriculture. And this is not out of topic. This is not out of topic. It is intensive agriculture. And you can say that it is not intensive agriculture, okay? Also, I would like to add to something that you said, that you would increase jobs. Well, we will do it too. Guess what? Because progress brings jobs, brings occupation, brings people that have to work these new things that do not exist in this moment, or we have to grow the existence of it, because as we said, this solution is enact now, not like yours, not like the families that have the land. We are doing it now. We are feeding people now.
All right, I'll get on this again. So firstly, I'll address the fact that, as the second speaker of your team agreed, the majority of the food production is made by families, and we agree on that right now. So let's propose, and let's say that the solution is this vertical agriculture. And they talk that our proposal, like the extensive agriculture as in topic, is too much expensive, right? So of course, for a family, it will be really less expensive building tall buildings with concentrating all the agricultural in that tiny space. So now let's reflect. If this is cheaper than the extensive or the normal intensive agriculture, why isn't this happening always? And it is not, because it's not affordable. Number two, we can have a new debate about saying that progress brings new jobs. It might be, but in general, as the technological support grows, progress might also create a decrease in jobs, because the machineries and the technologies enter instead of the normal labor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The free debate has finished. Thank you to both the teams. So starting from now, we give the last 2 minutes of break to the teams so that the captains can organize their conclusive speech. As we have just seen, it is no easy task to support a thesis and to search for arguments and for evidence. Exponi encourages students not only to engage in global relevant issues, but also to develop skills and acquire knowledge they can use in the academic and working environment. Its methodology stimulates the development of a critical and analytical mindset, and it enhances the ability to talk in public, to cooperate and work in team, to think strategically, but especially to compete with the purpose of learning more than of winning, and to respect the shared rules in a democratic context. So Exponi offers young students the opportunity to learn and improve themselves while taking an active role and increasing their awareness about relevant and current issues. So, Exponiamo as we speak. Welcome back to the debate. So now, captains, if you're ready, you can give your conclusive speech. Exponiamo. Captain, please, you have 3 minutes. The floor is yours.
Thank you. During this debate, we talk a lot about pesticides. We talk a lot about our Earth. We talk a lot about creations, progress, and creation of jobs. We want to say to the other team that no one time they answered to our questions, and no one time their propose was not to say, oh no, that's not okay because of this, this, and this. But the truth is just that, well, they were not prepared on this kind of topics, so they didn't answer to our question. And if they would like to ask our data, we will show them with no problem, but now it's too late. So I think that in this moment, we said that this kind of solution, that means progress, will create job, because progress creates jobs, as even does. And they know nothing about the solution. And I want to just say that my team is supporting this kind of intensive agriculture called vertical farming, because it is an efficient way to feed everybody in an economical and sustainable way. And this is a fact. Extensive agriculture is not more sustainable and capable to feed everybody in an equal way. And this is another fact, and we show the data. Moreover, vertical farming is the solution for the problem related to growing population that needs to consume more. The most efficient arable lands are terminated, and this is another fact. We are in front of a terrible situation, and we want to continue to kill biodiversity of those lands, to destroy those habitats, or to go against the environment, or to disboscade. Plus, as we said before, vertical farming is a solution for the overuse of raw material. That is a really big theme. It means that we are wasting tons of them by adopting extensive agriculture, as we said before. Moreover, intensive agriculture could solve the problem related to the transports, because the increase of prices and pollution, and this is a fact, and we showed it before with the data. We want to give everybody everywhere in the most simple way the possibility to eat, respecting our environment as much as possible. And we have a solution now.
Okay, thank you. So as we speak, Captain, 3 minutes for you, so please take the floor. Sorry, we can't hear you. Non ti sentiamo.
I'm sorry. Okay. So here's the situation. The pro team has brought us a theory about intensive agriculture that should work and should, by now, protect, like from now on, protect our environment from what are actually the consequences of intensive agriculture. But my question is, why is a specific type of intensive agriculture a way to say that intensive agriculture in general is good? Like I don't see the connection. Like just because one system is working or will work in the future doesn't mean that your line of thought is actually good for the planet. Like about the topic that we're talking about. That's the point. So our situation instead is basically this. This system, your system, the pro team system, not only has awful consequences on the environment, but is not even a safe and healthy business managing, because it causes overproduction, inefficiency, and waste. And none of these three variables underline a good business model. Thus, my question is, why isn't your system already spread in all over the world? Why are we using it already? Because maybe it's not that efficient as you say. And let's ignore the part in which I tell you that our system can actually be more efficient than yours. And as I said before, other people in the environment has already that. You really can go on with it. Like we can go on with it. As my first speaker said, we're not gonna last long. Our colleague's idea of agriculture is not sustainable whatsoever, no matter what fairy tale they try to make us buy here. What we try to prove here today is that in the industrial agriculture operations pose a serious threat to human health. As my colleague Margherita explained to us before, everything about intensive agriculture is unhealthy for our planet, it's toxic. We're not here to exploit nature until it's physically possible. And by doing so, we're literally poisoning us and the earth and our future. And let me tell you this, parents work the entire life to provide everything that is necessary to their families, to provide for a future they're going to be a part of just for a while. But they do it because that's what we do as a human race. We take care of one another. We think in the long term. We see the big picture. That's what we have to do now, here. The party is over. We can't do this no more. The time is almost up. And we need to act now. We must act now. Intensive agriculture doesn't work. It's toxic. We have to act now as a parent for the planet. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much as we speak. Thank you, captains, and thank you to all the participants. You made a great debate. So now the jury has 10 minutes maximum to decide the winner of this first debate. So soon we will know the winning team.
Mi chiamo Valentina Galli, frequento la facoltà di Scienze Politiche e Sociali dell'Università Cattolica e dibatto perché dibattere per me è passione, è confronto ed è crescita con gli altri.
Ciao, sono Francesco Morici, sono iscritto al secondo anno di Scienze Politiche e Relazioni Internazionali e dibatto perché voglio approfondire i temi importanti della nostra società ascoltando le opinioni degli altri e cercando di costruire una discussione concreta e non polemica.
Sono Marta Agostinoni e frequento la facoltà di Economia e Gestione Aziendale. Dibatto perché sono convinta che noi giovani dobbiamo affrontare oggi questi problemi, poiché nel prossimo futuro saremo noi a dover intervenire per gestire questa realtà. Sta a noi infatti informarci e conoscerli ora per poi un domani conviverci in modo resiliente.
I'm Enrico Fedele. I'm a student at the Faculty of Economics, and I debate because I believe that debating is a very close friend of progress and is the only way that we can find solutions together.
I'm Alessia Silipigni. I'm a student at the Faculty of Political and Social Science. I debate because I think that this could be not only a great way to express your personal opinion, but also a great opportunity to share your ideas with others. Actually, I strongly believe that ideas can be improved if questioned and tested. And for this reason, I debate, most of all, because I would like to consider things from another point of view.
My name is Florian Seiko, and I'm a student of economics. The faculty that I attend is the International Management faculty, and I study at Piacenza University of Sacro Cuore, Cattolica University, to be more precise. I want to debate, and I like to debate because I think that in order to find some solution to the complex problems that our society is facing today and in these days, so we have the problems related to for example, COVID-19, which is more present nowadays. We have the problems related to the environment. So all of these problems require complex and difficult solution, and you cannot achieve those solutions without dialogue and without debate. Every truth that you have to achieve might be also on your opponent's side, so on the side of the person that you do not agree in the beginning. So the importance of having a dialogue, the importance of debating, the importance of challenging your ideas and the ideas of the others are really, really, really necessary in order to achieve the best solution possible, and why not the truth? And that's why I want to debate, and that's why I like debating.
Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. We are back live for this first contest. I just met with my colleagues for discussing the winner. We had indeed also quite a debate because the points were very close. Let me say that we appreciated your presentation. Personally, I'm a professor of agriculture microbiology, and one of the main topic I deal with indeed is soil quality, soil exploitation, pesticides, fertility, and so on. So it was nice to hear from your point of view the way you debated this. And I have to say sincerely that I also could learn something, which is also very interesting and very important. Our final assessment is that the Con team is winning this debate, not by many points, but they win. The points in favor are indeed the style presentation. That was good, I have to say, in both teams, but there were some higher levels somehow for the second team. And regarding the contents that you put forward, they were very convincing and strong. I have to say that I have my conviction, my scientific evaluation of agriculture intensivity or extensivity, but I will not say it because we are not judging on the value. Maybe I could say to the pro team that probably the fact of focusing so much on the vertical agriculture was not the best way, because it's indeed one possible option, but it cannot be the only argument in favor of intensive agriculture. So there are a lot of other arguments that could have put forward, and maybe this was a weak team. So congratulations anyway to everybody. The con team is winning, but indeed it was also very difficult to decide because you have both been very good. Okay, thank you.
Okay, good afternoon and welcome back for the second debate of today. I would like to thank the 3 members of the jury who are here with us to judge the following debates. It's a pleasure to introduce to the teams and to the audience Professor Edoardo Puglisi from the Faculty of Agriculture, Food and Environmental Sciences. Professor Puglisi is here as the representative also of the other 2 members of the jury who are following the debate in the backstage. Professor Claudia Rotondi from the Faculty of Political and Social Sciences, and Professor Raul Caruso from the Faculty of Linguistic Sciences and Foreign Literatures. I welcome the pro team as we speak, and on the other side, the con team, naturalmente. So let's start with the debate. Here is the topic of the challenge. To disseminate civic sense, should we repress misconduct or teach and encourage virtuous behaviors? The captains will open the debate, starting with the pro team. Then the first and the second speakers will take part in the discussion. Teams, you know the rules, so good luck and may the best team win. I just remind you the topic of the second debate. To disseminate civic sense, should we repress misconduct or teach and encourage virtuous behaviors? Let's start. Captain of the pro team, you have 3 minutes. The floor is yours.
Thank you. So let's think about education system. Education, what's the purpose of education? It's a long-term goal. We educate people to good behaviors and good actions in order to make it responsible in the future, in order to make them think of the consequences of their good actions. We are thinking about that society is based on the good actions of the people. So how education can actually help people to be responsible, to open their mind out of their own interest by educating them day by day, minute after minute. And what are the 2 main spaces where they can actually grow and actually make themselves better? Family and school. The state, the government has to invest in school, has to invest in school, because in that place, people can actually grow. People can have a broader understanding of what's happening in the society, in the world, and that the single good action can have a huge impact on the society. So as pro team, and by supporting this thesis, we strongly believe that education is the best way to educate people to good behaviors, because as a long-term goal, because you actually sees with foresight in the future, and it does not punish, it does not denigrate people, it just make people better, it makes people better, it gives people examples of good way to live. Thank you.
Okay, thank you as we speak. Now, naturalmente, Captain, you have 3 minutes, so you have the floor.
I'm the captain of Naturalmente. My team believes that prevention and education are not enough to spread the sense of civic responsibility. It is necessary to focus on combating misconduct. Most of us are born with 5 senses, and a few with a 6th sense, but no one is born with civic sense. Civic sense encompasses unspoken norms of society that one is born into that is socially acceptable. Civic responsibility cannot be just taught. It must reflect the actual personality and reflect the responsibility and duties of any citizen. It is about social ethics. Do we rely on just education and hope that citizens will inculcate the right behavior? Or do we also use the stick and enforce and ensure the right behavior actually happens? My team believes that the stick works. Civic sense cannot be left to chance and to the idea that educating individuals and citizens will in itself inculcate what is socially and civilly acceptable. The best example one can quote is Singapore, which is a fine city to travel to and live in. It also has a very strictly enforced system of fines designed to keep the country impeccably clean and maintain everyday socially and civilly acceptable behavior. Singapore launched their Keep Singapore Clean campaign in 1968, which initially included fines for littering, but has been adapted to focus on socially relevant matters that would make the biggest impact and fast. The resulting clean city, where citizens accept personal ownership for civic duties in the larger interest of the common good, bears testament to its enforced success. To outsiders, rules may seem excessive, prohibitive, and almost an infringement on human rights. But who would not want the benefit of a clean and safe city? Isn't it a price worth paying for? Civic sense is a result of appropriate behavior, which is always the most difficult to change. It cannot be guaranteed by just teaching it as a subject or being told what to do, whether in a family or in school. If it doesn't come from within, it has to be enforced, taking the biblical cue of sparing the rod and spoiling the child. A more viable alternative is one that relies on behavioral science, that is now well accepted through the Nobel Prize-winning nudge theory. It involves designing elements in the environment that encourage positive or improved behaviors. I highlight the example of Mumbai, where honking in traffic with its noise pollution has become an unbearable problem. The traffic police at certain vital intersections install devices that detect horn noise. When people collectively honked above a decibel level, the light turned red and stayed red. A campaign on social media followed around the theme "Honk More, Wait More," got the message across very quickly and effectively. No fine was involved, but the loss of time was a bigger deterrent. All of us have experienced the benefits of nudges for COVID-related prevention behavior, whether in the use of hand sanitizers or floor markers for social distancing. These have become the new normal without any protest that no education alone could inculcate on such a mass scale, because fear led to compliance. My team firmly believes that education alone is not an answer to civic sense. It needs to be enforced by change of behavior through enforcing discipline. Thank you.
So thank you, captains. As we speak, first speakers, 3 minutes for you. You have the floor.
Okay. Well, according to what the colleague of the other team said, we can also pretend that education is fundamental and the repression is not necessary. But let's try to analyze these words. The school is, after the family, the main agency for socialization and personality formation. Its fundamental task is to provide necessary tools to grow culturally, psychologically, and socially, to acquire a certain degree of responsibility, and finally, to train for citizenship and democratic life. Okay, everyone has understood the reasons why the role of the school and families is important, but we have to try to figure out the reasons why it is not enough. The majority of the parents work all the day and they don't have time to fully raise their children. There are also many families who are not culturally able to do so. We have to rely on them to build a more ethical world. In fact, according to an Oxford report referring to the year 2019, in Italy, 30% of the population are functionally illiterate. Functional illiteracy means that a person cannot use reading, writing, and calculation skills for their own and for the community's development. Moreover, in Italy, the school dropout rates are very high. According to the EU indicator, Italy is the fourth European country with the highest dropout school rate, after Spain, after Malta, and Romania. The percentage of young people between 18 and 24 years who left school before graduation was 20% in 2019. So the two main agencies are important, but they are not enough, because even if they were enough, we must not forget the largest slice of the Italian population, which is not covered by compulsory school or doesn't live with their families. So after this introduction, the first question that arises is, who should act in this case? The answer is the state, the government, the law. It constitutes the basis of any democracy, civil and aware system. Thank you.
Thank you. Naturalmente, first speaker, 3 minutes for you. You have the floor.
Good afternoon, everyone. We live in a society that needs to have a perfect balance between good potential behavior and negative behavior. In order to preserve this precious balance, it is necessary to take action so that potential negative behaviors are discouraged. This is why my team is in favor of restriction to harmful behavior, and because they are necessary until the point that society is well educated, because we do not have enough time to educate everyone as a single person. So punishments are an easy, fast, and cheap methods to implement the change. In the case of rich people, for example, money does not make any big differences. In case like that, further restrictions that fines like jail time must be taken. There are a lot of cases of rich people that were put in prison for not a long time and then came back to free life and committed bad things again. And it is absolutely awful. So we also think that permanencies in prison have to be proportionated to how awful is the way and what they did when they were free. A very common phenomenon in United States is, for example, community service as a punishment. Just some years ago, also the top model Naomi Campbell was put in community service, as she did throw to the woman who was cleaning her house her mobile phone. So everyone knows how she loves her work and how is she devoted to it. But it's very important to understand that if you are a celebrity, you are not allowed to behave like you are alone in the world. So we also think that community service as a punishment is very important to make people aware of how beautiful it is to help each other and to be useful for society. So changing countries and looking up at the example of restrictions in China and Japan, we can see we could say that they really work well. In Asian countries, the respect for pregnancies and elderly are social norms that reflect the deep values of the societies. And as a very well-educated society, this also was able, following with attention all the restrictions in COVID time, to face the emergency and reload the economy of the country back soon again. Another question is how crime rates can decrease if sanctions are imposed. Imposing fines and penalties prevent the person from doing it again, and to harm other people and protect society. For example, in Singapore at this time, in this pandemic situation, if someone does not respect the social distancing, then he or she can be arrested, and it is very important not to harm other people from society. It is in human nature to be selfish, and often we do not think about our greater good or those we are affecting around us, such as when we smoke in the park with children or a woman behind us. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. So thank you to all the speakers. Now we give a little break to the teams so that the participant can coordinate with themselves and reconsider the strategy if they need it. So starting from now, 2 minutes of break. So in this second debate, we see the As We Speak and the Naturalmente challenging each other about the topic to disseminate civic sense. Should we repress misconduct or teach and encourage virtuous behaviors? This is Exponi, the debate contest about climate change and environmental protection, promoted by WeWorld Onlus with the support of the European Union within the project End Climate Change, Start Climate of Change. This project, which involves 16 European organizations, belongs to the program called DEAR, Development, Education and Awareness Raising, and it aims to encourage young Europeans to investigate the complex relationship existing between climate change and migratory phenomena, with the purpose of creating a movement of well-informed people ready to change their lifestyle and to ask for new development policies. For this reason, the participants are called to debate about global issues of great relevance, such as human rights, inclusion, participation, environmental protection, non-discrimination, migration, development, and youth policies. So, if the teams are ready, we can go back to debate. Teams, are you ready? Okay. So, we can start with the second speakers. Okay, so second speaker of the pro team, you have 3 minutes. The floor is yours.
So listen, we are not born with the spirit, the public spirit. And it is true what the captain of opposition team said. We are not born with it. But why are we here, right? Why are we debating? Are we debating to just say something and state it as a real truth? Or are we here to explain why the things that we are saying really matter? And this is what this debate is about, right? This debate is about understanding the importance of explaining why things matter. And this is what education does and what repression will never be able to do. We need, in order to educate people, in order to have a better generation, the best generation possible in the future, to educate them, to explain why the things that matter really matter. And we cannot just say that the truth is a truth. We need explanation. And what does happen when we increase the punishments? We have the prohibitionism that never worked in the history, recent and long. If you say to a person that you do not have to do something, that person will do it. And this is why the model proposed by the opposition team will never work in this society, in our society. And although it's quite strange to see the examples that they brought to us as working examples, we had, number one, Singapore, which is, I agree, a really clean place. But what they missed to say is the suicidal rate that Singapore has due to the psychological damage that those people, inhabitants that live there, has to always have. They are filmed every day. There are cameras everywhere. They have a high pressure of society, and they're punished for doing nearly everything. And then they come with a solution being easy, fast, and cheap, right? And to support this, what they brought to us? China, a dictatorship, right? So in their best world possible, they propose China. And we all know that what China does, I mean, the China state has on this day concentration camps for people that do not agree with the majority, right? So, and this is the point then. Who decides what to repress? Who is in charge on deciding what is good and what is bad? How do you understand if something is really good or really bad? With education, with creating a critical spirit and a critical thinking in yourself. And this cannot be achieved by repression. The worst scenario in their world is dictatorship. The worst scenario in our world is people that do not have education. Right, this is bad, and that's why this is important. And their worst scenario is not comparable to our scenario. Thank you.
Thank you. As we speak, now second speaker of the CON team, 3 minutes for you. You have the floor.
Thank you. Good afternoon. The current pandemic shows us perfectly how humans are capable of being selfish. States undertook regulations to protect their population because common sense was not enough. Before the measures of social distancing and hygienic attention, counting on the free will and the rationality of the population did not show the same results as the intervention of the state. Some people feel punished and see their personal rights and their individual freedom attacked. The adopted regulations, however, face the health of the whole country, and they have shown to be effective in a fast way. Living in a society comes with limitations to individual rights and freedoms. In some cases, our behaviors and our activities do not only concern us, but they have consequences for other people and other generations. As we often wish to do whatever we want for the sake of society as a whole, we need norms, and we need sanctions if these norms are violated. If everyone took part in traffic as he or she pleased, it would be very dangerous for everyone else. That is why there are rules and speed limits. And if these are violated, there is a fine that must be paid. This fine has also a preventive function. Let's talk again about the example of cleanness in public spaces. As they are not our private property, we might feel less responsible for them, and we might leave our trash there and litter as we go. Behaving like this, we do not think about who comes to this place next, who is responsible for it, and how we influence the ecosystem in general. A place known for dealing well with this kind of problem was already mentioned. It's Singapore. And I would like to mention the example of the chewing gum. It is quite difficult to be disposed, and therefore it was banned. And I do not think that banning chewing gum did cause psychological pressure and suicide on people, but it kept the place clean. And if a place is clean and nice, of course, one enjoys living there more and travels more to it. The SDG 11, Sustainable Development Goal 11, is about sustainable cities and communities. If we want to make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable, we need to act now. I therefore pledge for the implementation and enforcement of concrete rules to make sure that civic sense is reinforced and to overcome human selfishness and individualism in society. Because, let's be honest, if throwing away gum in Italy was punished, we would see a lot of less trash. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much to both the speakers. Now we give a little break to the teams. So participants, you can coordinate with your team and reconsider your strategy if this is the case. So starting from now, 2 minutes of break. And in the meanwhile, let's keep discovering about Exponi. Exponi is not just a competition among teams from various Italian universities, but it's a European one. Indeed, the debate contest is organized in 13 European nations. The Italian team, winner of the university tournament, will have the opportunity to participate in the pan-European final that will take place in November 2021 in Brussels, and to challenge students from different European universities. In Brussels, the national teams will be divided, and 26 new European teams formed by the students of different nationalities will be created. The members of the team that will win the European final will have the opportunity to visit 4 countries involved in the project and climate change, start climate of change, to become young ambassadors and supporters of the climate of change. In the following minutes, the speakers will take part in a free debate, and we will listen to the reasonings and arguments they will use to support their pro or con thesis. So, if the teams are ready, we can restart. We can start with the free debate. So, guys, are you ready? Okay, I just quickly remind you to specify your role and the team you belong to before talking during the free debate. You have 8 minutes maximum, so let's start. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I'm the second speaker of proposition team, and I want to clarify. I want this clarification from the con team. Are you really proposing a model that has similarities to the Chinese model, which I remind you is a dictatorship? Are you really proposing and comparing that if the cities do not have chewing gums and people are suiciding because not of chewing gums, I said because they're filmed every day, because if they do something that the police can hurt them, and that's why they're suiciding, not because of chewing gum. So are you really comparing the two things? And are you really saying that the only thing that matters in a nation is that you do not have chewing gums in a state? Keep cherry picking this only example by not saying what is really bad in those types of nation. And this is not, and it comes easily to my mind why you didn't choose the democratic countries that we have here, but you choose Singapore and China as an example, because this shows exactly how the repression works in the society today, and it works really bad.
May I correct you? I did mention the largest democracy in the world, which is India, and I provided a perfectly acceptable example how they have effectively managed a situation and has promoted a much safer environment and a better environment for every single individual living there. In addition, I'd like to mention that the first speaker of the proposition did in fact say that education was not enough, given the fact that a lot of the population is illiterate or doesn't have access to education. In such cases, the government does have to enforce certain regulations and restrictions. In no way did I ever say in my speech that we are enforcing a dictatorship. These are norms, and it functions on mutual respect that allow every single person to coexist as a society is supposed to function.
I'll just add a little bit on this, if I may. You did say that indirectly that you want a dictatorship by bringing the example of China. At least your team did, and we know that China is a dictatorship. On the other hand, yes, our first speaker said that we have these problems, and this is why some nations do not work. They do not work because we need more education. That's the point. That there's not enough education, and we need more. We do not need more repression. Otherwise, we're going to be like China.
So let me just tell you this. I do not discredit education or the value that it adds to every single individual or family. However, the time that it would take to see any change towards whatever problem society is facing is way too long. If you need to see change right now, you need to implement certain regulations and rules. If what you are saying is correct, that you need education, then why is it that countries have enforced certain regulations during this current pandemic? Shouldn't we trust the education of everyone and their level of education and their civic responsibility, as you so claim that we should do?
I would like to ask some questions to the con team. How many
Well, as my colleague Florence has just said, forcing people to behave in specific ways is worse than teaching them what's right and what's wrong. The most important tool is civic education. Civic education empowers us to be well-informed, active citizens, and gives us the opportunity to change the world around us. It's a vital part of any democracy, and it keeps ordinary people with knowledge about our democracy and our constitution. Thank you.
Okay, but guys, it's not about civic sense we are talking. It's about the nature of every human, the selfish nature of every human that needs to be not increased, but to be repressed with punishments and restrictions. That's what we're talking about. I'm not saying culture is something to avoid, but it's not something to be based on. We have to be based on the fact that humans are selfish and they go by instinct because we are human, but we are also animals. And so we need to be regulated by restrictions and punishments. That's what we're talking about.
I'd also like to, sorry, can I add
sorry.
something?
Yes, you may.
Okay. I just wanted to add that the entire theory that you are proposing from the proposition is extremely idealistic and utopian, because if we keep increasing education, are you implying that there won't be any single person who will do any wrong in this world?
So if I may speak, I would like to just ask few questions to the content. How many more prisons, how many more restrictions, how many more punishments do we need to actually make a better society? How many more taxes people have to pay to build, federal prisons or state prisons to put all people that do or make bad actions or behave in a bad way? So that's the point. Education, it's much better because it can educate self-control. So if you are educated to not to do a thing and you know why, and you understand why, you're not going to do that. You are not 100% sure that repression would lead people not to do something. Yes, you mentioned good examples. You mentioned that, right? But you can't say that it work for all countries. They work for all people. And let me just add one thing. How can you say that we humans are selfish? As Aristotle said, humans are social, are made for being social. And they need people around them to face the situations that we can actually experience every time. So let's say that education, it's not an idealistic and a utopian word. Education is needed. The state, other than spend money in prisons, has to spend more money in education for all. Thank you.
I said your theory in general of saying that only education is the answer to provide a safer society. That is utopian and idealistic, because only a violator would object to certain fines or regulations. There are 3 E's: engineer a solution, educate on the solution, and enforce the solution. Enforcing the solution is cheaper, faster, and easier. Education, yes, it does matter, but it will take a very long time to see any significant change. How long does it take to educate a child? Does a child go to school for a year and you come out seeing differences?
Tell me the damage that a punishment can do to a child because, I don't know, he steals an apple. Tell me the consequences of punishment, because yes, you say it's short. You don't need enough time, all right? But you said it's faster and cheaper, but it's not good. It doesn't mean good. Cheap doesn't mean good. I mean, it's as simple as that.
By correcting a child when someone does something wrong, they learn to not do it again. That is how
they are educated.
Not by punishing
they do it. And what makes you say that if the person is educated that they won't do it again? Because there are many examples of extremely
because they
educated
understand
people.
why. They are not punished. I'm sorry, I just overspoke over you. But I'm saying that, I'm stating here that they are knowing, they are understanding self-control. That's what I'm stating here. Thank you. I'm sorry again.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. So thank you to both our teams. Now we give the 2 last minutes of break to the teams so that the captains can organize their conclusive speech. So from now, 2 minutes of break. So as we have just seen, it's no easy task to support a thesis and to search for arguments and evidence. Exponi encourages students not only to engage in global relevant issues, but also to develop skills and acquire knowledge they can use in the academic and working environment. Its methodology stimulates the development of a critical and analytical mindset, and it enhances the ability to talk in public, to cooperate and work in team, and to think strategically, but especially to compete with the purpose of learning more than of winning, and to respect shared rules in a democratic context. So, Exponi offers the students the opportunity to learn and improve themselves while taking an active role and increasing their awareness about relevant and current issues. So, if the teams are ready, we can go back to debate. So, captains, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So, as we speak, Captain, you have 3 minutes. The floor is yours.
Thank you. So, we have seen in this debate that actually education is a better way to educate people, to make a society better, because it sees the long-term goal. It does not base its purpose on punishing people and denigrating people. We are talking here about how to teach self-control to each one of you, to each one of us, actually. So that's the main point. The CON team said that repression is the cheapest, fastest way. But is it good? Is to be cheap the good way? I do not think so. I think that education may be longer, but it will bring more results. It will bring a great outcome for the society, a great benefit for the society and for all of us. And let me say that human beings are not selfish, are not entirely selfish. They have a part of themselves that can see out of their own interest. And that's why we need good examples. That's why we need to teach good examples of education, good examples of behaving. Because if we just think of short-term goals and so punishing, repressing, we just put fear to people. We just, actually build a terrifying world around them. They are scared of doing something, not just, they cannot think of a better word. They just think I do not have to do this because I'm gonna pay for this. That's not a word I wanna live in. So education, it's the best mean to build a better society that searches for the common good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you as we speak. Now, Captain of the CON team, you have 3 minutes, so please take the floor.
My team has presented alternatives to just relying on education to ensure civic sense. The saying goes, stop fishing people out of the river. Instead, walk upstream to find out why they are falling in. Similarly, in enforcing civic duties, we need to seek the root cause of a problem and eliminate that with firm enforcement of rules, as this is much more effective in the long term. We have pointed out that nudging has also been successful in traffic safety, recycling, and safe etiquette, and in COVID times, in social distancing and sanitizing. It has enforced mass discipline. If you come from a different country where rules are not always adhered to or only sporadically enforced, you have to respect the government of Singapore, which took a hard and serious stance in a sincere effort to improve the quality of life, not just for a select few, but for everybody in their country. Look at the benefits where enforced discipline has resulted in the country's population of extremely well-mannered individuals, courteous, and who take ownership for ensuring a clean, rule-abiding society. For example, the rule forbidding eating and drinking on public transport translates to spotlessly clean transport for all. The rule forbidding the possession of chewing gum anywhere in the country translates to clean pavement and non-stick walking. The no smoking rule translates to cleaner and healthier air for everybody. The rule of no noise after 10 o'clock in the night has improved neighbor relations and a peaceful environment. The no jaywalking rule saves lives daily. Public rowdiness is reduced significantly by rules which include not being allowed to drink alcohol in public places through the night. Are these benefits not worth the enforcement of these rules? Who, except for the violators of rules and duties of citizens, who would take exception to a government enforcing discipline to make our environment cleaner, healthier, and a better space for everybody to coexist in? Confucius said, "Tell me and I forget. Show me and I remember. Let me do and I understand." My team has presented that the best learning comes from doing, including burning one's fingers. It is when one suffers unpleasant results of an action that one will not want to do the same thing again. Education is a starting point, but it is only complete when it results in the 3 freedoms for every individual: freedom of choice, freedom of action, and freedom to bear the results of action. This last freedom happens when the enforcement of discipline results in personal responsibility and ownership in civic life. Thank you.
So thank you to both the captains and thank you to all the participants. You made a great debate. Now the jury has 10 minutes maximum to decide the winner of the second debate. So soon we will know the winning team. Thank you.
I'm Alessia Silipigni. I'm a student at the Faculty of Political and Social Science. I debate because I think that this could be not only a great way to express your personal opinion, but also a great opportunity to share your ideas with others. Actually, I strongly believe that ideas can be improved if questioned and tested. And for this reason, I debate, most of all, because I would like to consider things from another point of view.
I'm Enrico Fedele. I'm a student at the Faculty of Economics, and I debate because I believe that debating is a very close friend of progress and is the only way that we can find solutions together.
My name is Florian Seiko, and I'm a student of economics. The faculty that I attend is the International Management faculty, and I study at Piacenza at the University of Sacro Cuore, Cattolica University, to be more precise. I want to debate, and I like to debate, because I think that in order to find some solution to the complex problems that our society is facing today and in these days, so we have the problems related to for example, COVID-19, which is more present nowadays. We have the problems related to the environment. So all of these problems require complex and difficult solution, and you cannot achieve those solutions without dialogue and without debate. Every truth that you have to achieve might be also on your opponent's side, so on the side of the person that you do not agree in the beginning. So the importance of having a dialogue, the importance of debating, the importance of challenging your ideas and the ideas of the others are really, really, really necessary in order to achieve the best solution possible, and why not the truth? And that's why I want to debate, and that's why I like debating.
Sono Marta Agostinoni e frequento la facoltà di Economia e Gestione Aziendale. Dibatto perché sono convinta che noi giovani dobbiamo affrontare oggi questi problemi, poiché nel prossimo futuro saremo noi a dover intervenire per gestire questa realtà. Sta a noi infatti informarci e conoscerli ora per poi un domani conviverci in modo resiliente.
Ciao, sono Francesco Morici, sono iscritto al secondo anno di Scienze Politiche e Relazioni Internazionali e dibatto perché voglio approfondire i temi importanti della nostra società ascoltando le opinioni degli altri e cercando di costruire una discussione concreta e non polemica.
Mi chiamo Valentina Galli, frequento la facoltà di Scienze Politiche e Sociali dell'Università Cattolica e dibatto perché dibattere per me è passione, è confronto ed è crescita con gli altri.
Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. We are here back for the evaluation of the second round. Me and Professor Raul Caruso and Professor Claudia Rotondi had discussed now your presentations. We were very impressed by the quality and the arguments that you used. Actually, you really got very, very close one to the other. And we finally decided, but there are really just a few points. I will not mention the points you got, but really just consider just a few for the pro team winning. Basically, because you had a little more contra-argumentation, I might say, as compared to the con team. You got some details that were quite interesting, in our opinion, regarding the fact that, for example, the situation are different in the case of civic sense misconduct engagement, let's say. So once again, congratulations to the pro team, but really congratulations to both teams because you did very well. Thank you. See you later.
So congratulations to the pro team and thank you everybody. Thank you to all those who watched the debate. In a few minutes, we will be back for the last debate of the day. Good afternoon. Good afternoon and welcome back for the last debate of today. I would like to thank the 3 members of the jury who are here with us to judge the following debate. It's a pleasure to introduce to the teams and to the audience Professor Edoardo Puglisi from the Faculty of Agriculture, Food and Environmental Sciences. Professor Puglisi is here as the representative also of the other 2 members of the jury who are following the debate in the backstage. Professor Claudia Rotondi from the Faculty of Political and Social Sciences, and Professor Raul Caruso from the Faculty of Linguistic Sciences and Foreign Literatures. I welcome the pro team, the naturalmente, and on the other side, the con team, the exponiamo. So let's start with the debate. Here is the topic of the challenge: low-cost tourism, economic opportunity or environmental risk. The captains will open the debate, starting with the pro team. Then the first and the second speakers will take part in the discussion. Teams, you know the rules, so good luck to all and may the best team win. I just remind you the topic of this last debate: low-cost tourism, economic opportunity or environmental risk. Let's start. Captain of the pro team, if you're ready, you have 3 minutes, so the floor is yours.
I'm the captain of the argument against.
Okay. So we need the captain of the pro team, naturalmente.
Yeah.
Okay, good. You can start. Thank you.
Every sector one can think of shows that low cost can make business sense and therefore represents a business opportunity. With competition facing every industry, big companies invest a lot of money, people, and time to fight their rivals. Thus, Coke duels Pepsi, Sony battles Philips, Amazon spars with eBay. But the real threat is from disruptive low-cost competitors. All over the world, organizations that have business models and technologies different from those of market leaders are mushrooming. Such companies offer products and services at prices dramatically lower than those established businesses charge, often by harnessing the forces of deregulation, globalization, and technological innovation. This is true of low-cost travels that has made travel accessible, equitable, and feasible for a large population, which was otherwise the prerogative of the few and the affluent. The financial calculations of low-cost players are different from those of established companies. They earn smaller gross margins than traditional players do, but turn those into higher operating margins and higher than average asset turnover ratios, which result in impressive returns on assets. Because of those returns and high growth rates, the market capitalizations of many low-cost carriers are higher than those of industry leaders, despite the larger equity bases of the latter. Ryanair is 1/7 the size of British Airways in terms of revenues, but its operating margins are 3 times larger than British Airways, resulting in higher market capitalization. My team believes that low-cost travel with agile and continuous innovation can translate into successful and sustainable businesses. The consequences of low-cost travel also has a ripple effect increase in low-budget options for low-budget travelers, who also create a demand for low-budget accommodation, local travel, food, entertainment, and more, making the economic opportunity attractive on different counts. There are many innovative examples of success for this model. Ryanair, Wizz Air, and EasyJet offer low-cost tickets without baggage and the possibility of buying the right amount of baggage at a reasonable price. Low-cost airlines have greater economies of scale and target the average consumer who is sensitive to pricing. Aircrafts for flights within a region like the EU are smaller, have low fuel and maintenance costs, no frills, making travel in the Schengen area accessible and affordable while having a lower carbon footprint. Bigger airlines like Emirates and British Airways make their money on baggage, entertainment in flight, and tickets are expensive to support the massive aircraft fuel costs and maintenance. My team believes that economic opportunity lies in the larger numbers and fortune at the bottom of the pyramid. It also drives development and results in improvement in basic infrastructure, such as airports, roads, water supply, energy, and medical services. benefiting not just travelers, but for destinations and local residents. Low-cost travels brings economic opportunities as a job creator, tax revenue generator, and taking people and development to unreached places. Without a doubt, low-cost travels represent an economic opportunity.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, naturalmente. Now, exponiamo, Captain. You have 3 minutes, so you have the floor.
Thank you. I'm going to explain our point of view on the topic. So, first of all, we need to analyze the effective impact of this way of traveling on our planet. The planes are, first of all, the most polluting of all transports, and the use of planes really increased in the last decades, most of all because of the spreading of the low-cost flights and the companies behind them. We will focus on the national and continental low-cost flights because they represent the majority by far, and this is something I didn't hear from the opposite side. In this way, pollution caused by planes is becoming more and more inflicting on our planet's environmental balances. We just have to think about the data that we're going to show during our interview. In this moment, I heard also from the opposite side all the pleasures or all the opportunities that these flights bring from an economical point of view. And I want to say just from an economical point of view, as we're going to say after, progress is the biggest bringer of innovation and is the biggest bringer of economical opportunities. So this is a flight sector, this is a business that is not more sustainable, and we need to innovate and we need to go on to make this not also more green for us, but also to find more sustainable alternative to it, and we've got some. So what usually people don't know is that the worst thing about planes are not the CO2 emissions, on which companies are investing a lot to decrease its impact, but something called nitrogen monoxide, and we're going to talk long about this. It is a substance emitted into the upper troposphere, and it is really dangerous for the ozone hole. In fact, in the substance, in these molecules, when they meet the ultraviolet rays, produce a reaction, so the ozone layer that protects us tapers more and more. It's true, the industry is advancing, but in the wrong way. The efforts of these companies are just focusing on reducing CO2 emissions, but according to the last Bloomberg analysis in collaboration with NASA, the main problem is related to nitrogen monoxide. Therefore, the only efficient solution to guarantee a sustainable future for the next generation is limiting low-cost flights that are terribly increasing in the last years. I also heard from the opposite part about all what this kind of travel, what the aviation sector brings to us. Well, I want to say them that the topic is about the low-cost travels, and I also heard a lot about something that is useful just for the international flights. And now, as I said before, we're just talking about continental flights because they're the majority by far of low-cost travels.
So thank you, captains. Now, naturalmente, first speaker, 3 minutes for you. You have the floor.
Hi, thank you very much. According with my captain and my team, we think that low-cost tourism create economic benefits and support the sustainability. Because when we talk about sustainability, we have to split it up in 3 different factors: economic, environmental, and social sustainability. First of all, the economic benefits created by low-cost flights is the liberal circulation. That we have to support, for example, the important agreement of the Schengen that create a liberal circulation, not only for the business, but to create a relationship, a new liberal world. So the low-cost tourists give the possibility to the poorest people and to the young student, for example, to create and support and keep on the relationship and to don't spend too much money because they have, for example, a low budget. This is possible thanks to for example, the low-cost airlines like Wizz Air, like Ryanair, like EasyJet. And it's another important point that these airlines low-cost companies give the possibility to choose a different price, a different option for the charge of the luggage. And this is an important point when we have considered we have to spend a lot of money. Another important point about and concerned with the social sustainability, a social benefit created by the low-cost tourist travels, is that, especially in this moment of an emergency, the low-cost flight still available give the possibility to keep in touch with the person, the people, or who we care about. For example, the family, the parents, the friends. It is important in the case of emergency have a sure points in a moment of uncertainty, especially for the effect and the cares of ours. The first one, last but not least, is environmental benefits, because we know that the flights create an emission, but we have to compare with the low-cost travels flights of the airlines companies such as Wizz Air, Ryanair, EasyJet, compared with the intercontinental companies. And the flight of the low-cost airlines companies is for the majority of short haul. And this is the point, and this is the highlight is not high the emissions and the problem for the climate change. And the last point is this: we have to consider the possibility to discover the hidden and developing territories thanks to the low-cost tourism. Thank you very much.
So thank you, naturalmente. Now exponiamo, first speaker, 3 minutes for you. The floor is yours.
Okay, good afternoon. First of all, I would like to underline 3 important points that my opponent made. First of all, during his discourse, he underlined that the economic benefits are the most important. So we can understand that the environment is not so important for them. We would like to underline that the environment is fundamental. We have no planet B. We must act now, not in the future. And the only possibility to do so and to save our life and the planet is trying to decrease the number of low-cost flights. Moreover, he said that these low-cost flights are important in this situation, during this pandemic, but we want to remember the people that during pandemic, during coronavirus, people actually cannot travel around the world. So I would like to inform you that nitrogen monoxide is the most dangerous part of plane emissions and is damaging the ozone holes. And as a consequence, it's increasing the amount of ultraviolet rays arriving on the Earth. These molecules are putting at risk our environmental balance. The main example is represented by the phytoplankton decrease, that is the main producer of oxygen and promotes the spillage of CO2 emission from the atmosphere. In the background, but not less important, the nitrogen monoxide affects negatively on the chlorophyll photosynthesis. This process is essential for the ecosystem and for the human life. It is also important to preserve sustainable conditions on the Earth for the future generations, because the life is priceless and salvaguarding it is the most important thing to us. And we can do it by promoting excellent alternative solutions, such as investing in other forms of transportation like the high-speed rail network that already offer incredible solutions in the field of time, costs, and sustainability. Moreover, for the future, we propose to make these companies focus their research on not only the monoxide issues, but also on the CO2 one. Even if it is a media argument, we must look scientifically at the problem in order to salvaguard life. In conclusion, our team support for now the dramatically decreasing of continental and national flights by promoting alternative and sustainable solutions as the implementation of railway network, and at the same time for the future we promote an efficient research in order to make nitrogen monoxide less dangerous. Thank you. I give the floor back to the moderator.
So thank you to all the speakers. Now we give a little break to the teams so that the members can coordinate and reconsider the strategy if they need it. So starting from now, we give 2 minutes of break. So in this last debate, we see the Naturalmente and the Exponiamo challenging each other about the topic low-cost tourism, economic opportunity or environmental risk. This is Exponi, the debate contest about climate change and environmental protection, promoted by WeWorld Onlus with the support of the European Union within the project End Climate Change, Start Climate of Change. This project, which involves 16 European organizations, belongs to the program called DEAR, Development Education and Awareness Raising, and it aims to encourage young Europeans to investigate the complex relationship existing between climate change and migratory phenomena, with the purpose of creating a movement well ready to change for global issues of great relevance, such as human rights, inclusion, participation, environmental protection, non-discrimination, migration, development, and youth policies. So, naturalmente, Exponiamo, if you're ready, we can go back to debate. So, second speakers, are you ready?
Yes. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good.
May I? Okay, thank you. Traveling low cost and simultaneously taking care about environment is absolutely possible. A concrete example is the attributable to March 9, 2019, the time that a lot of people started to care to live their life with an eye on the environment. There are several examples in which we can find how low-cost companies take as mission to condensate both reasonable prices for customers and caring about environment. That's the only way to encourage everyone to travel and discover how beautiful and interesting our world is. First of all, Ryanair, already in March 2019, began to donate money for social benefits such as repristinations of ecosystems, protections of dolphins and whales, restabilizations of forests in Ireland. The decision of the company to invest in these projects shows us an important brand policy of working without destroying the world. Right after, EasyJet, who's always been devoted to social responsibilities, looks with attention to compensation of CO2, shows itself against deforestation and pro-sustainable origins of energies. During flights on board, the company imposed not to use plastic and encouraged new technologies for airspace sector. Also in Italy, Trenitalia and Alitalia began an #TravelGreen policy, always starting in 2019. Frecciarossa 1000, the new train, is the proof of green traveling that travels with 30% less pollution in the air. Ending it up, I would like to remember everyone that who's working in these companies are human, people that cares about where they live, their common house that is Earth. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, second speaker of the CON team, 3 minutes for you. You have the floor. We can't hear you, sorry.
Sorry. I want to start clarifying that my team, so the CON team, defined low-cost flights in continental, national, and intercontinental. The other team totally ignored this division and this difference, so they didn't engage at this point. Again, their first speaker said that sustainability is important on various sides, economical, environmental, and social, but they didn't talk about environmental sustainability in concrete. In fact, they talked about some aspects, they talked about some help to the environment, but they are just trying to fixing up what they are destroying. So if a company starts helping an habitat with, for example, plantation of trees. It's not there the problem. The problem is that nitrogen monoxide is eliminating our chlorophyll and photosynthesis. So if you plant a tree, but this tree can't do the photosynthesis, how we can breathe? So this is not in concrete unhealth going on. They didn't engage our argument on nitrogen monoxide. In fact, we talked about the researches about CO2 emissions, but we also said that the worst part are not CO2 emissions, on which these companies are researching on already, but the worst part are nitrogen monoxide molecules, and they didn't engage this argument. So a lot of flights take off every day all around the world, as you can simply stand, of course. And the solution we are going to propose is same to the German Green Party one. In fact, German Green Party proposed an initiative with a purpose to dramatically decrease national and continental flight and introducing a tax on aviation fuel, reducing ticket price of railway networks, and giving a best coverage in terms of Wi-Fi and in terms of nets. So this party claimed that in this way, this type of flight, this type of pollution that is really dangerous will be largely obsolete by 2030, 2035. So in order to preserve the planet for the future generation, we want to guarantee freedom, and we propose to adopt a functional and competitive alternative solution. Salvaguarding the environment and preserving freedom are our goals. Without preserving environment, we won't have any world to discover, and we will have no economy to save, to help, and to make better. Thank you.
So thank you very much to both the second speakers. Now we give a little break to the teams so that the participants can coordinate with their team and reconsider the strategy if this is the case. So starting from now, 2 minutes of break. And in the meanwhile, let's keep discovering about Exponi. Exponi is not just a competition among teams from various Italian universities, but it's a European one. Indeed, the debate is organized in 13 European nations. The Italian team winner of the university tournament will have the opportunity to participate in the Pan-European final that will take place in 2021 in Brussels, and to challenge students from different European universities. In Brussels, the national teams will be divided and 26 new European teams formed by young people of different nationalities will be created. The members of the team that will win the European final will have the opportunity to visit 4 countries involved in the project and climate change, start climate of change, to become young ambassadors and supporters of the climate of change. So in the following minutes, we will see the speakers taking part in a free debate, and we'll listen to the reasonings and the arguments they will use to support their pro or con thesis. So if the teams are ready, we can start with the free debate. I just remember you guys to specify your role and the team you belong to before talking during the free debate. Thank you. So if you're ready, the floor is yours.
I'm the captain of Naturalmente, the proposition, and I would just like to mention that I did very clearly state that low-cost travel includes flights in smaller regions such as the EU. I did not talk about intercontinental flights because those are the flights that involve a higher carbon footprint. For low-cost travels and short-distance flights, such as within the region like the EU, they have a lower carbon footprint. To address your point on nitrogen emissions, with the right technology, nitrogen emissions can be converted into clean fuel. So I do agree that the focus should be on converting or transferring to more sustainable technologies. However, you cannot throw the baby out with the bathwater. You need to find solutions to these problems and not throw away an entire industry and disregard an entire market sector that is clearly left untapped.
May I? Did you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm the second speaker of the CON team, and I want to answer this. We didn't throw away a sector. We are just saying that for now, because of we haven't any researches that can limit nitrogen monoxide emissions, for now we want to limit low-cost flights because they're really dangerous for our environment. And if we don't do this now, we won't have any time to find a solution because our environment is in danger and we need to act now. And secondly, I want to say that in a long run, we proposed a solution, and this solution is about the increasing of the railway network. And the first speaker and me talked about this and proposed this solution. So this is not a sort of throwing away totally a sector, but it's a sort of getting better in order to save our environment.
Can I answer that?
Of course.
The construction of railway lines involves in deforestation. You will ruin thousands of square meters of land, of forest, of ecosystems. So that is going to impact the environment as well. And yes, you are throwing away an entire sector, because why should you completely disregard low-cost travel when you should be targeting the big polluters? Because the aviation industry is not the only thing that is causing environmental damage. There are factories, there are thousands of other industries that you can target. It's a move to renewable, can I finish? Renewable and sustainable energy and resources.
Points you mentioned were wrong. Can you hear me?
Now we can. Now I can.
Okay. Some of the points you mentioned were completely wrong, because the solution we are proposing is a totally green solution, because rail network today, and particularly fast rail network today, and the implement of these rail networks are totally green, and deforestation is not more an issue for the rail networks today, and that's the most green way to travel in this moment, and also the most cheap for everyone. So travel is not.
Well, that is
Yeah.
actually wrong, because you need to construct the railway line first. Rail may be
And
a safe
you
option,
said
and
there are other issues for the environment after planes, but that's not like this, because of all transport, planes are from
Could I finish
3
my
to
point
6
first?
times. Yeah,
I
I'm
was
finished mine.
responding. No, I was
I'm
responding
finished
to
mine.
your previous point. I was
Okay, let me
responding to
finish
your
mine.
previous argument. So
I'm
can I
going
finish
point by
mine?
point.
Well, I was
Planes
responding
are.
to your previous argument, so I'm going to finish that, and then you can go ahead with whatever you have to say. If you need to construct a railway line, you need to destroy thousands of square kilometers of land, whether you like it or not. That results in destructions of ecosystems, of trees, which is very important for the environment. Are you telling me that tomorrow the railway lines are just going to be constructed and we start using trains?
We just got bases on this, and we've got data on this.
And would you like to provide how the railway lines will not destroy 1,000 kilometers of land?
Oh, absolutely. Just take some routes like the continental flights does. Today, you can go from the UK to the Europe with no issues and no environmental issues from this point of view. After, planes are by far the most polluting way of transport, from 3 to 6 times more than every other way of transport. And as we said before, nitrogen monoxide is not a solvable issue also from now or the next 20 years, as the research says. So your solution is not a solution.
Technological innovation is the main focus of every single industry. So with the technology, nitrogen emissions can be converted into clean fuel. And you gave one example of a railway line that does not cause that much environmental damage? And what about the rest of the nations? Are they all going to be the same way as you suggest? Because I don't think that would be true.
Sorry, I'm the second speaker of the CON team, and I want to talk just 1 hour I have been here. So I wanted to reply that trains are not a perfect solution, and we know, but are better than the planes because are more eco-friendly. And I want to ask you how you want to limit nitrogen monoxide, with which researches, with which money, in which way, because nitrogen monoxide is in the aviation fuel. So if you don't find another way to make a plane fly, nitrogen monoxide will be emitted. And how do you want to save photosynthesis and phytoplankton and us?
And I would like to answer on the question of this on the speaker 2. Exactly now, if you go on about and deepen the program of, for example, the low-cost airlines Ryanair, to try to invest to reduce exactly the emission, and this is exactly the reality. In fact, they decrease current CO2 of 23% lower than the average of European order for measured airlines. And this is the point because, and I'm finished, the big company of such as Ryanair have the money to invest in the new renewable technologies because we need, it's so expensive. The new technology on the new renewable technology is so expensive, and this company could spend in the future to do this. Thank you.
I'm the second speaker of the CON team, and I want to say that, yeah, this is an example of how much polluting can be. In fact, we didn't talk about only CO2 emission, and we also said that CO2 emissions are not the worst part. Worst part are nitrogen monoxide, and you didn't answer us how to limitate it.
We did, actually. We said with the right technology. And that comes through technological innovation.
You don't say how.
With technological innovation, that is the priority of every single industry.
Yeah, just one study that is doing this one. No, we didn't find it. You too, so there's no one.
And you gave any examples for the railways that would work so perfectly without destroying any amount of land?
Yeah, the Germany one.
Yeah, just one of them. And it's going to work the same in the rest of the nation.
Guys, it's just been done.
And it'll work the same.
It's just been done.
Guys,
to
please,
reduce
time to
continental flight.
It's finished up.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you very much to both the teams. The free debate is finished. So now we give the last 2 minutes of break to the teams so that the captains can organize their conclusive speech. And so, as we have just seen, it's no easy task to support a thesis and to search for arguments and evidence. Exponi encourages the students not only to engage in global relevant issues, but also to develop skills and acquire knowledge they can use in the academic and working environment. Its methodology stimulates the development of a critical and analytical mindset, and it enhances the ability to talk in public, to cooperate and work in team, and to think strategically, but especially to compete with the purpose of learning more than of winning, and to respect shared rules in a democratic context. So we can say that Exponi offers young students the opportunity to learn and improve themselves while taking an active role and increasing their awareness about relevant and current issues. So, if the captains are ready, we can go back to the debate. So, captains, are you ready? Okay, so naturalmente, Captain, you have 3 minutes, so please take the floor.
My team has pointed out that low-cost travel is sustainable. Successful price warriors stay ahead of bigger rivals by using several innovative strategies and by adapting soon to changing times and consumer behavior. Most low-cost players alter customer behavior permanently, getting people to accept fewer benefits at lower prices, as every euro saved is a euro earned. Consumers are also becoming increasingly cynical about brands, better informed because of the internet, and more open to better value for money offers. Full-service airlines have invariably had to yield some markets to the price warriors. British Airways, which initially ignored low-cost rivals such as EasyJet and Ryanair, then set up a low-cost carrier called Go, which it sold in 2002 to EasyJet. British Airways now concentrates on long-haul flights, for which there are no low-cost rival carriers. When full-service airlines discover that the low-price customer segment is large, they often set up low-cost ventures themselves. In the 1990s, all major airlines launched no-frill second carriers, Continental Light, Delta Express, KLM's Buzz, to take on low-cost competition. All these second carriers have since then been shut down or sold off, showing how tough it is for companies to use a dual strategy. Independent low-cost travel, however, is here to stay. Low-cost players will continue to mushroom, as there are and always will be two kinds of consumers, those who buy on the basis of price and those who are partial to value. We have emphasized that business is not about either or. Both can make business sense. Therefore, there will always be room for both low-cost players and value-added businesses. How much room each will have depends not only on the industry and customers' preference, but also on the strategies that are deployed so that economic opportunity that exists can be sustained through innovation and continuous change. We have pointed out that low-cost airlines connecting each origin and destination, usually with non-stop flights, eliminate the intermediate stops, reduce total travel time, and enable better aircraft utilization. The fleet uniformity of low-cost airlines leads to lower training and lower maintenance costs. Higher efficiency, better fleet utilization of low-cost airlines with less overheads means they could offer significant price discounts that matter to a majority of consumers who want to reach their destination quickly and economically, and are willing to give up in-flight food and entertainment and even comfort, driving more people to travel. We have no doubt that low-cost travel represents an economic opportunity and is here to stay. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, naturalmente. Now, the captain of the con team, Exponiamo, you have 3 minutes, so please take the floor.
Thank you. I also want to thank the opposite team because they mentioned really important team, and I wanted to answer an argument at the end of 3 of their main teams from the economic, environmental, and social point of view. From the economic point of view, we were for a solution that is cheaper, that is better for the environment, and that will create more and more workplaces. For secondly, they are adopting their strategy, reducing their research on all the aviation sector, but they were just talking about the low-cost flights. About environmental, well, there's no discussion about this. We also talked a lot about nitrogen monoxide and how dangerous it is, and they never answered to our question, but also said that it can be converted in green fuel. Doesn't exist, I'm sorry. And about social, you know, our wonderful country can show it to us, how the trains from 2004 to 2020 today are increased, not just because they are more eco-friendly, because it is, but they're cheaper. So it's going to be a cheaper way to move, a cheaper way to tourism. At the end, I want to say the low-cost company business really increased the number of flights, as also they said, that represent the most polluting transport by far. For sure, most of the companies are focusing their researches on reducing CO2 emission, as also they said, ignoring that the most dangerous substance released by planes is nitrogen monoxide. We explained how dangerous nitrogen monoxide is, and it's getting the ozone hole larger, and we need to act now instead of this. In this way, we and our planet are less protected from ultraviolet rays. And as a consequence, the amount of phytoplankton is dramatically decreasing, and this is not a joke. And the chlorophyll and photosynthesis is more difficult. So we need a solution now before it's too late. And we're promoting the improvement of the rail network in order to decrease the use of planes that grows up in the last decades because of the low-cost companies, and we cannot more go on this way. So we have the responsibility to guarantee a sustainable future to our planet and for the next generation. And the only way to reach this goal is limiting the use of plants where we can, not limiting freedom of people, proposing our solution. So salvaguarding life and freedom is our priority. Thank you.
So thank you, captains, and thank you to all the participants. You made a great debate. Now the jury has 10 minutes maximum to decide the winner of this last debate. So soon we will know the winning team. Thank you.
Mi chiamo Valentina Galli, frequento la facoltà di Scienze Politiche e Sociali dell'Università Cattolica e dibatto perché dibattere per me è passione, è confronto ed è crescita con gli altri.
Sono Marta Agostinoni e frequento la facoltà di Economia e Gestione Aziendale. Dibatto perché sono convinta che noi giovani dobbiamo affrontare oggi questi problemi, poiché nel prossimo futuro saremo noi a dover intervenire per gestire questa realtà. Sta a noi infatti informarci e conoscerli ora per poi un domani conviverci in modo resiliente.
Ciao, sono Francesco Morici, sono iscritto al secondo anno di Scienze Politiche e Relazioni Internazionali e dibatto perché voglio approfondire i temi importanti della nostra società ascoltando le opinioni degli altri e cercando di costruire una discussione concreta e non polemica.
My name is Florian Seiko, and I'm a student of economics. The faculty that I attend is the International Management faculty, and I study at Piacenza University of Sacro Cuore, Cattolica University, to be more precise. I want to debate, and I like to debate, because I think that in order to find some solution to the complex problems that our society is facing today and in these days, so we have the problems related to for example, COVID-19, which is more present nowadays. We have the problems related to the environment. So all of these problems require complex and difficult solution, and you cannot achieve those solutions without dialogue and without debate. Every truth that you have to achieve might be also on your opponent's side, so on the side of the person that you do not agree in the beginning. So the importance of having a dialogue, the importance of debating, the importance of challenging your ideas and the ideas of the others are really, really, really necessary in order to achieve the best solution possible, and why not the truth? And that's why I want to debate, and that's why I like debating.
I'm Enrico Fedele. I'm a student at the Faculty of Economics, And I debate because I believe that debating is a very close friend of progress and is the only way that we can find solutions together.
I'm Alessia Silipigni. I'm a student at the Faculty of Political and Social Science. I debate because I think that this could be not only a great way to express your personal opinion, but also a great opportunity to share your ideas with others. Actually, I strongly believe that ideas can be improved if questioned and tested. And for this reason, I debate, most of all, because I would like to consider things from another point of view.
Okay, so good evening to all the people following us and to the students of the teams. It's been quite a long afternoon, but very interesting. I appreciated, together with the other judges, how you were still very keen in debating, especially for the teams that were did one more than debate, and very passionate and very interested in the topics. So it's been me and the other judges indeed enjoyed a lot also discussing. I have to say that also for this debate, we came to the same conclusions. So there was a good agreement between the different judges, and we come from different faculties. So that was nice to see. And I can say that the winning team is the con team, okay? The reason for this is that basically we notice a little bit more counter argumentation, especially at the end by the captain. We have also a small remarks to make that I think it can be useful for you in general to continue. I believe that especially in the last debates, also in the other one, but also in this debate, the captains had too much of a prominent role. You have to understand that you are not like the first one or the most important, but you have to carry your team and cooperate with your team. That you generally do, but I have to say that especially in debate, the debate became something between the two captains, and this was not supposed to be. So there's also a small remarks to conclude, but also congratulations for all of you for the great job that you did. Thank you.
So congratulations to the con team, and thank you to all the participants. Thank you also to all those who watched the debates. This was the last debate for today. The second stage of the tournament concludes tomorrow with the last three debates between the four teams of our university. Tomorrow, we will know the names of the two finalist teams. They will challenge each other in January, and the winner will join the regional championship, competing against the teams of other Italian universities. We'll see you tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. and good evening, everyone. Thank you.